So, with the rhetoric of Donald Trump announcing that he wants to seize opportunity of taking Greenland and turning it into a mega state, taking the Panama Canal, turning the Gulf of Mexico into the Gulf of America because it sounds more beautiful, and also announcing that Canada will become the 51st state, there has obviously been some pushback. Obviously, been some pushback. Not only myself, because I have explained that Canada becoming the 51st state, well, first off, we're going to be losing our health care in that notion instead of actually improving on it. And I don't think Canadians are willing to sacrifice that. And also, it's not going to be feasible enough for our people, considering the fact that American governments in their treatment with American people, how do you think that's going to work when Canadians are in the mix or Greenlanders are in the mix? And one of the vocal opponents of Canada becoming the first 51st state, not only Justin Trudeau, not only people within that cabinet, but here is Pierre Poilievre. Pierre Poilievre, who more than likely will become the next prime minister. I'm not vouching on that. I'm not, putting my foot down. I'm not good with predictions, but more than likely, it seems feasible that this guy could potentially be the next commander in chief here in Canada. He says Canada will never be the 51st state, period. We are a great and independent country. We are the best friend to the United States. We spend billions of dollars and hundreds of lives helping Americans retaliate against Al Qaeda's 9/11 attacks. And for those who are familiar with the musical rendition of Come Far Away, you know what we're talking about. We know about the hospitality of Atlantic Canada opening their homes and welcoming Americans that are in troublesome when it came to the 9/11 attacks. We supply the U.S. with billions of dollars of high quality and totally reliable energy well below market price. We buy hundreds of billions of dollars of American goods. Our weak and pathetic NDP liberal government has failed to make these obvious points. I will fight for America. When I am Prime Minister, we will rebuild our military and take back control of our border to secure both Canada and the United States. We will take back control of our Arctic to keep Russia and China out. We will axe taxes, slash red tape, and rapidly greenlight massive resource projects to bring home paychecks and production to our country. In other words, we will put Canada first. So it seems to me that Pierre Poilievre, instead of trying to fold into this, instead of trying to make these pathetic arguments, trying to make these pathetic, cowardly lion, if you will, fights of put him up. Pierre Poilievre is simply addressing that instead of turning our skids into America and the disaster that's coming on foot with that, why don't we actually take our notion and make our country great again? Let's make Canada great again. Let's have our own impact to make our own sovereignty, to make our own decisions, which I support that. I support that 100%. That is something that my views kind of simulate to this. That instead of folding to the skids and making this decision to just be steamrolled by America, why are we not focused on our own sovereignty? Why are we not focused on our own independence? You really want to give up all this? Like, what was our point of the Freedom Convoy then? What was the point of soldiers fighting to protect Canada if you're just going to give it away to another country? That's just absolutely crazy that people have that rendition. So Scott Ritter chimes in to what Pierre Poilievre said and said the over-under before your first vote of no confidence is less than 1 year. Again, I can't vouch for that, but there are some, critiques of Pierre Poilievre that I could state. Pierre Poilievre, again, I warned people here in Canada, just like what we saw with the United States election, that regardless of party, regardless of the rhetoric, regardless of, what policies they might be implementing, meaning that they're going to give you an empty gesture of saying, hey, vote for me and I'll do this, it's always going to lead to the status quo. It's always going to lead to some sort of billionaire escapade that has already bought out the politics of that country, just like we're seeing all around the world. So I'm not saying he's right. I'm not saying he's wrong. I'm just saying that is what Scott Ritter is saying. We'll see when the time comes. So here is Foreign Affairs Minister Melanie Joly also chiming in on this. She states, President-elect Trump's comments show a lack of understanding of what makes America a strong country. Our economy is strong. Our people are strong. We will never back down in the face of threats. So it seems like she's trying to reassure herself, not the actual Canadian populace, because the Canadian populace has a totally different view, including Tamara Lich. Tamara Lich, Freedom Convoy activist, freedom fighter, probably one of the most notable Canadians in our history right now. She stated the economy is not strong. It's the worst it's been in generations because of you and your party's fiscal immaturity. A large population of our people are broken thanks to you and your party's ideologically motivated policies and agendas. Sit down, military Barbie, and for the love of all things holy, just stop talking. You're weak, unqualified for your position, and no one believes you. Release the names and then election now. Obviously, chiming into the fact that the Trudeau government right now has a laundry list of names of people who are complicit with Nazism, with fascism, with the Third Reich in this country, that we granted them citizenship because they were fighting the commies back in the day. We had our own Operation Paperclip here in Canada, and there's a laundry list of names that have on record of the amount of Nazi fighters that we brought into this country and granted them citizenship right away, that those names should be released. Concerning the fact that right now we're still continuing to aid a corrupted nation in Eastern Europe, which are filled with Nazis. We applied a Nazi, for God's sakes, in Parliament twice. Twice! And of course, election now. Obviously, that goes without saying. But you know who's also clapping back on Donald Trump's rhetoric is Doug Ford. Doug Ford, who finally took a second to breathe, take a deep breath, end this psychotic BS, fight stance where he's trying to threaten the northern states to cut off their electricity and take them hostage. I think he's moved on from this, and now he's going to go on Fox News' Jesse Waters program to discuss how Canada will never become the 51st state, how we will not just be steamrolled by another country, which is exactly what the globalist occupation wants, by the way. They want to diminish our sovereignty. They want to eliminate our borders, eliminate the fact that Canada is its own country, is its own nation. They want to eliminate that. Even Donald Trump now, who's supposed to be this great guy on border security, is announcing, hey, what if we took away that imaginary line? Imaginary. You know who also said that? George Soros. You know who also says that? Klaus Schwab. You really want to fold your country into that? I don't think so. But here's what Doug Ford says.
Doug Ford, the Premier of Ontario, Canada, joins me now. All right, Premier. By the way, I loved your brother. We did an interview. Great guy. Yeah, what's your problem with the United States absorbing Canada?
Well,
this is already turning into a hilarious interview there. He starts off by saying, listen, we talked to your brother, like, good guy. We should have done a trade-off because we're stuck with your ass. And at least that guy, yeah, he smoked crack and talked about his wife's taint all the time. And yeah, all the scandals. But at least he knew what he was doing. He knew what he was doing. And then proceeds on from that by saying, why won't you let Canada just swap you in? Why can't Canada just fold to America? Why can't you just surrender? Oh my God. And here we go. This is what Doug Ford says.
First of all, Jesse, I love the U.S. I love Americans, and I get it. President-elect Trump is a real estate tycoon. He's made billions, but that property's not for sale. As simple as that. But I have a better idea, Jesse. Why don't we create Fortress AmCan and make sure it's the richest, wealthiest, most prosperous jurisdiction in the two countries anywhere in the world? We have the critical minerals, we have the energy, we have the electricity that America needs. And there's only one place I'd want to sell it to, and that's the U.S.
Well, you could sell it to us, or we could all own it together, and that's a choice we can all make together. You say this isn't for sale, but everything has a price. The $1 Million Man says that. Can you think of this more as a merger instead of an acquisition? Don't think about being taken over. Think about this as a coming together.
Yeah, we can come.
Don't think of it as taking it over. Don't think of it as hijacking your resources and giving you guys the finger, which is exactly what it's going to be. Don't think of it like that. Think of it as a merger, a partnership, a friendship. I thought we were friends, guys. I thought you guys liked us. Why won't we take over you? And this is what I tell people, because right now I'm seeing all these arguments for this, that, America should just take over Canada because of how horrible it is. Justin Trudeau's policies and the Liberal Party and all these nefarious people just need to stop, and we need to just take it over. This is what I remind people of, is that, first of all, they're not going to buy Canada. They're not going to care for Canadians. They don't even care about their own citizens. Why on earth would they give a damn about Canadians? Do you really think the White House, that currently states are on fire right now, that hurricane victims are still suffering, that people are across the entire USA, many of whom who are working 9 to 5 are still living in tent cities, do you think they give a damn about Canadians? Do you think they give a damn about Greenlanders? Or is it, hey, you guys have resources, we want it. Gimme, gimme, gimme. And we have heard all this rhetoric before. How many times have they gone overseas to other countries in the Middle East or South America or anywhere else in the world and tried to do this kind of rhetoric? Guys, don't think of it as us storming in and taking over your country and turning it into a war zone. Think of it as a partnership. You guys are going to be friends. As Muammar Gaddafi, the former late leader of Libya, once said, that, it is disastrous, I'm paraphrasing, it is disastrous to be an enemy of the United States, but it's deadly to be a friend of the United States. Because once upon a time, all these other leaders thought the same way, that, hey, United States, maybe we can do some sort of partnership. And look what happened.
Together on a great trade deal. We're two greatest countries in the world. Do you know what the problem is? I've lived 20 years in the U.S. Matter of fact, I spent a lot of time in Philly, where you did, for 7 years, and in Chicago. There's not one American that I speak to out there, Jesse, that has a problem with Canada. Do you know what the problem is? China's the problem. China is shipping in cheap parts into Mexico, and then Mexico slapping a Made in Mexico sticker on, shipping it up through the U.S. and Canada, costing American and Canadian jobs. Like, Mexico has to make a choice, Jesse.
I get
They're
it.
either with Beijing or Washington.
No, I get it. I get it. You say.
I get it. Yeah, China. Obviously, we're on the side of, going to war with China, considering we shipped all the jobs over there and our horrible trade policies allowed us to do that. Yeah, I'm on board for fighting China. If that's the case of all this, if all this is in regards to the fact that, we don't want Russia or China to be the economic powerhouse, then why are we not fixing our trade policies? Why are we not implementing solutions to bring companies back to this country? How come we have still shitty trade policies that are putting companies and shipping those overseas and having billionaires applaud that, saying, "Oh, well, we can make cheaper goods over there. We can make plastics at pennies on the dollar." That's what people like Kevin O'Leary once said on Shark Tank and Dragon's Den. He's always vouched for that. Oh, you can make it cheaper in China. You can make it cheaper in Bangladesh. You can go over to the Philippines and get child slave labor. It's no big deal. So why are we not focused on that instead of all this crazy maniac like it's some sort of poker game? Listen, we'll take Canada and you guys get this. And yeah, it's all complete BS. It's all complete BS. Again, look at all the other countries, look at all the other ways the United States has bargained with and created alliance with, only to seize opportunity, to use empirical force, to use the military-industrial complex, to seize territory, to seize and steal resources. And does it work out for the people? Hell no. Hell no.
Say that Americans don't have a problem with Canadians, and we don't. But it seems like you have a problem with us. Because if I were a citizen of another country and I was a neighbor of the United States, I would consider it a privilege to be taken over by the United States of America. That's what everybody else in the world wants, American citizenship. For some reason, that's repellent to you Canadians. And I find that personally offensive, Premier.
Oh, my God. Now Jesse Waters is pulling out the Karen trope. Oh, my God. I feel offended. I feel offended as this lonesome American citizen. I feel offended that you have concerns, that you don't want to be part of this megaopolis family of ours. You don't want to be part of the imperial force. Oh, I feel offended. Is that what Darth Vader told Luke Skywalker when talking about the dark side? Oh, I feel so offended. I thought we cared about each other. I am your father, after all. Come on. Come on. Again, that's not the point of any of this. The point of it is sovereignty. The point of this is individual nations, which the billionaire class don't already see that. They don't want individual nations. They don't want sovereign countries. They don't want populations to determine the fate of themselves. And you want to fold into that? You want to go right into the direction of people like George Soros and the World Economic Forum that don't give a damn about any citizens in whatever country. But it's about the economic factor, and you're going to be part of this family. I feel so offended. Oh my God. Shut the hell up. Shut the hell up. This is embarrassing. This is embarrassing. And it's even more embarrassing that I have to take the side of Doug Ford on this. I have to take the side of Dunce frickin' Ford. Even though he is a crappy premier, I have to at least take the side on the fact that this is ridiculous. And I've stated this numerous times. It's not going to work out for the majority of Canadians. I know people like to think and imagine that this is some sort of simple solution. Oh, the mega powerhouse, the greatest age of America. It's going to take a... How's that going to work well for the Canadian citizens? Because Americans try to explain to Canadians how this is such a great idea, but first you have to lose your health care. You have to lose all your health care. Now you get to figure out what copays are. Now you got to figure out deductibles. Now you get to be like your own Luigi Mangione and get so pissed off at healthcare CEOs. You have to deal with insurance agencies. God, yes. America. Freedom. Instead of actually working to fight for Canadians, and dealing with their own country the same way America should be dealing with its own country. But no, it's destroy, distract, destroy, conquer, whatever you like to call it, all part of this globalized billionaire agenda. And that's why I suspect Trump is not alone in this decision process. I'm pretty sure that Elon Musk is coaching him on seizing these opportunities. I mean, why all of a sudden would they be starting to talk about Greenland's mineral wealth, especially with Elon Musk by Trump's ear? That's going to be very, very, very well for him, making all those Tesla cyber dicks. It's not going to work well, folks. It's not going to work well. That's why we have to band together to fight our own sovereignty and not just fold and cave to whatever bigwig wants to take us over.